In a small, cozy town, there lived a cat named Luna. Luna was a gentle grey tabby with soft fur that felt like clouds and deep green eyes that sparkled like stars on a clear night. She lived with an elderly woman named Mrs. Whitley, who had taken care of Luna since she was a kitten. They were the best of companions, always together, whether it was by the fireplace on chilly nights or in the garden during sunny afternoons. One evening, as autumn crept in, the sky grew heavy with clouds. Rain began to fall, soft and steady, tapping against the windows of Mrs. Whitley's little cottage. Luna sat by the window, watching the droplets race down the glass, her tail curled neatly around her paws. But something felt different about this rain. It wasn't the gentle, soothing kind she was used to. This rain felt heavy, as if the sky was sharing a sorrow too deep for words. For the past few days, Mrs. Whitley hadn't been her usual self. She moved slower, slept more, and her laughter had faded into quiet sighs. Luna, always sensitive to her human's emotions, felt a growing sadness in her heart. Tonight, as the rain fell, it seemed to mirror the heaviness that Luna felt in her tiny body. The hours passed, and Mrs. Whitley remained in bed, her breaths shallow and soft. Luna, restless, paced the house, her heart beating faster with every tick of the clock. She hopped onto Mrs. Whitley's bed, nuzzling her cheek, but the old woman didn't stir. Luna's green eyes glistened, filled with a sadness she couldn't understand, but could deeply feel. Outside, the rain grew stronger, pouring from the heavens, as though the sky itself was weeping. Luna sat beside Mrs. Whitley, her fur damp with worry. She pressed her nose against the old woman's hand, hoping for a sign, anything, that everything would be okay. But all she received was silence. Then, with a trembling heart, Luna felt a single tear escape her eye. It was the first time she had ever cried, a tear as pure and clear as the rain that fell outside. As it landed softly on Mrs. Whitley's hand, the room seemed to pause. Luna curled up beside her, her tear mingling with the raindrops outside. The next morning, the storm had passed, and the sun peeked through the clouds. But inside the cottage, the air was still. Mrs. Whitley had passed away peacefully in her sleep, leaving Luna alone for the first time in her life. Weeks went by, and the house grew quiet. Neighbors came and went, offering kind words and warm meals, but nothing could fill the emptiness that Luna felt. She wandered the house, her paws echoing in the quiet rooms, always returning to the window when it rained. Every time the sky cried, Luna would sit there, her own tear falling silently, remembering the warmth and love she had lost. But as time passed, something magical began to happen. One rainy evening, as Luna sat by the window, she felt a gentle warmth brush against her fur. Startled, she turned to see nothing but the soft glow of the moonlight filtering through the clouds. Yet in her heart, she knew it was Mrs. Whitley, her spirit always watching over her, reminding Luna that love never truly fades. From that night on, the rain became Luna's comfort. Whenever it poured, she would sit by the window, her heart full of memories, knowing that somewhere beyond the clouds, Mrs. Whitley was still with her. And though Luna's tear still fell with each storm, it was no longer a tear of sorrow. It was a tear of love, a reminder that some bonds, even in loss, last forever.